Whoa!
What happened?
I just appeared as if from nowhere in a shirt that has never been seen before on the Old Warlock YouTube channel.
You got a bunch of people wanting to send you t-shirts. You realize
Do you guys like it?
How much did that one cost you?
Nothing. This was a gift from my ex-girlfriend's dad. Because it didn't fit him.
Wow, how generous.
I'm a lucky guy. What can I say? But today in this YouTube video...
Wow.
We're definitely not filming this intro after we film the rest of the video.
Not at all.
Crazy.
No, because we start not because
we kind of changed.
Not because we changed halfway through our previous videos and thought, that intro does not work at all. We're not doing that at all.
No. All we're talking about today is what we think you need or don't need to play Dungeons and Dragons. Emphasis on the don't need.
And by I think let's not even say Dungeons and Dragons. Let's start there. But role playing games in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Play the game. You'll see what we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But
because we kind of think that people are being misled.
Yeah.
That's what we think.
They are. Big purchasing. Big purchase.
Big RPG is trying to get into your pockets.
That's actually not that far out of the realm of...
It's really not.
No, it's not, which is kind of sad. But anyway, watch the video. Play the music. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So, playing role-playing games. From the outside, it looks like it's complicated. It looks like there's a lot going on, right? That you got to buy all these books, you got to get all this stuff, you have to buy pencils, you have to buy that fancy graph paper.
But you also have 1,000 dice.
Of course. And you have to get that big wormwood table that costs like $4,000. And if you're not doing all those things, you're not a real role-playing gamer.
Or the wormwood dice holder.
Yeah,
or
the dice tower. Any of these things. D&D has gone, especially if you're new to the, shall we say, D&D community, and you're trying to figure out what all is involved, you've probably seen a lot of people with pretty fancy setups.
Yeah, it's...
You know what is it, Critical Role? They have all kinds of crap.
And that you can't play unless you have lights and...
Yeah.
And,
that's not the case.
And lots of figures. Got to have lots of figures.
To move around on your table map. D&D should not be an exclusionary thing, right? You shouldn't have to have all of this stuff in order to actually play D&D or to enjoy these games or any other role-playing game.
Right. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a shame in a way that that so much of what has happened with D&D has turned into marketing peripheral stuff that is, like he was saying, it's almost like if you want to play the game right, you have to have these things, or you have to have 50 books, or you have to have, And
I'm going to say something unpopular here, not to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I know that there is a lot of this that comes from the newer editions of D&D, 5th edition in particular.
Yeah.
It's a very consumeristic thing. This has been going on for a long time.
It has been. And
I think it's time we confront that. And we say that some of these books, these AD&D books, they didn't really need to be written. But they were because they wanted to make money. So
which I get.
I get. I'm not faulting anybody for it. It's just been something that's gone on for a long time. And it really can be something that intimidates people away from the game. And we think that's bad.
There are some people out there who are going to just collect the books and never play the game.
I collect the books. And I don't use the books most of the time.
Right.
I use like 3 of them.
The AD&D books?
Yeah.
No, we very rarely use most of them. We collect them because they're collectible. But I would say that consumer side of things has gotten much, much
Absolutely.
worse.
I would agree with that.
So we're going to talk to you today about really all that you need to do a role-playing game.
Yeah.
And trust me, it ain't much. Because when I started playing the game, there was hardly anything. Mm-hmm. And when we expanded the game, it didn't take very much to do. And there are a lot of products on the market that you can buy that will get you started in the game very simply, very quickly, very efficiently, and yet you don't have to spend a fortune to do it. But I'm also going to make the argument in this video that you don't need anything to sit down and play a role-playing game with your friends.
All you need is your imagination.
That's pretty much it.
The world's greatest graphics card.
They right up here.
I stole that from the Big Bang Theory, but even so.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
For those of you who are looking for some kind of a structure to start playing your game, I learned originally from the Holmes Basic set that D&D came out with, that TSR came out with back in 1977, 78. I started playing in 78. It was on the market by then.
Keep going.
And that was all I needed. And in some ways, that's all I have ever played with. My friends and I, it was a very simple system. It was very straightforward. Handful of spells, handful of monsters. Yeah, this was it. And all that you really needed to play this game was this book.
And this box.
And this is my original book. You can see that there is not an awful lot going on here. Most of this is made up of descriptions of monsters and descriptions of spells. We've been playing using pretty much this book alone and some bits and pieces out of the AD&D system. But pretty much it's been centered on this book for, in my case, almost 50 years.
And I don't want to minimize it. Structurally, in terms of the actual rules that go into the game, it's largely out of this book. Yeah. But we do use the other books for a lot of reference points for things. Namely,
monsters,
spells, effects of spells, monsters prices of
some
stuff.
Extra character classes. So we also use the monster manual from AD&D, and we also use the player's handbook from AD&D. So
and the DM's guide.
And part of the DM's guide.
Yeah.
But you can still you can no longer buy this. Well, you can. I think that you can get a PDF of this original game that we play with. I think you can get that on DriveThruRPG, but I'm not positive about that. Or you can buy it on the secondary or tertiary market, eBay. You can also just buy something like this. Now, this book is Blueholme Prentice Rules.
We've talked about this.
We have talked about this on a previous video. It's made by a man by the name of Michael Thomas, who I found out lives in Wales. I've been in communication with him. We're probably going to have him on the... I'm hoping we get to have him on the channel at some point. He's kind of said, yeah, it might be kind of fun.
Those Welsh have a cool flag.
And they also have a cool country. I've been there a couple of times. Anyway, you can get the Blueholme Prentice Rules, and I think this costs like $12 or $15 or something like that. Got to be honest with you, this is all you need to play the game. Plus some graph paper, some pencils, and some dice. Yeah. You could get yourself set up for $25.
Easily.
Then there is an expansion on that. This is the advanced version of this. And so the two things together, it just gives you more options. But those two things together, plus all of the dice that you might need, and I'm talking a dozen dice, pencils and graph paper, you're good to go for $35-40.
And you know what? If that is something that you are incapable of doing, that you can't purchase those things, you don't even need that much.
That's an excellent point.
If you've got a phone, there are dice apps that you can download for free where you can roll these. It might take you a little longer because it's usually like one at a time, but you can still do it. And you don't even really need graph paper. You can just get a piece of paper and a pencil. You probably have a pencil kicking around somewhere.
And one of the other things that I think that goes kind of along with that is that if you can't afford this, or you don't even want to afford these kinds of things, if you need dice, you can do role-playing games with 6-sided dice. You can go and steal those out of your Monopoly set or whatever else. Pencils are always available, but to be honest with you, you don't even need pencils.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today. Yeah, there are really simple, cheap ways to get into Dungeons and Dragons. Official, right, good point. Into official Dungeons and Dragons. Now, granted, this is old Dungeons and Dragons, but it's still, as far as we're concerned, it's still Dungeons and Dragons. But we have played role-playing games sitting around a campfire in the snow, where one of the people who happened to be camping with us just started, actually it was me, just started to come up with a story on the spot. Each one of the players decided who they wanted to play within that story. We started talking, and to resolve any kind of a situation that I presented to the people who were sitting around the campfire, we would throw sticks, and if you managed to get the stick to stick straight up in the snow, you were successful in your attempt. Yep. If you gave me a good description of what it was you were trying to accomplish, you got 2 or 3 throws of the stick to see if you could get it to stick up in the snow. And we had a great deal of fun playing a role-playing game centered on kind of Dungeons & Dragons ideas and concepts. We played that all night, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the things that people have forgotten over the years. And there's a quote from Gary Gygax going way back, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was something akin to the thing that we need, he was referring to himself and other game designers. He said, the thing that we need to make sure people do not understand, role-playing gamers do not understand, it's that they don't need us at all.
Yeah.
And that's something that's stuck with me for decades now, that if you want to play a role-playing game,
play one.
Make it up on the spot. figure out a way to resolve situations. And maybe that's, flipping a coin to see, heads you're successful, tails you lose. And again, maybe if you have a good idea, you get to flip that coin 2 or 3 times.
Sure.
And heads, the more time you get to spin it, the better the chance is that you'll get a heads for success for a tails, as opposed to a tails, which gives you a not a success. But that's really all you need to do. Figure out, you just need to take a look at the story that you want to tell, as opposed to figuring out a rule system to make it consistent. Because if you're just sitting around telling a story with your friends collectively, you really don't need an intense, as far as I'm concerned, we're concerned, you really don't need an intense rule set to play within.
And this is not us disregarding all of these rules that exist.
Because we play D&D, we use
these.
We use the rules.
We like them. They work for us. But I don't want anybody, if you have never played these games, I don't want you to look at everything that exists and be overwhelmed by it. Like, that's how I feel about things like Warhammer a lot of the time.
Yep.
And that there's so much stuff out there that some of the players probably feel like you have to be familiar with, that you just don't have the time. Life is busy to find the time to go through and look through all these things, buy all these things, afford all these things. Just figure out a way that works for you. Play the game. Have fun with people. Make something up. Have an adventure. That's what's fun.
And I think you have to keep in mind that that's where all these games started.
Yeah.
Every version of Dungeons & Dragons, well, not every version, but the original Dungeons & Dragons, it evolved from people sitting around a table going, wouldn't it be fun if we could do this? Mm-hmm. They didn't have a rule set to go with. They just jumped in, made something up that accommodated everything that they wanted to try and accomplish, and eventually got written down. So it's not like this is a new concept.
Yeah.
It's just more or less a forgotten concept.
Yeah. And with that, I mean, if you do go down the rules route and you like having structure to it, there's nothing to say that D&D might be is the rule set that will work best for you.
Right.
There are other things that you might prefer to play with, whether that's a fantasy setting like Pathfinder, which is similar to D&D. If that works for you, go play Pathfinder. It's great. People love it. Huge community there.
But I think another thing that I want to bring up, and I think it was kind of a driver for this video, is coming across videos on YouTube where, and we have a YouTube channel, so maybe we're part of the problem as well.
Welcome.
But one of the things that I have noticed over the past several years is that there's almost it's almost a constant, if you don't have this, you're not playing it right. Or if you don't do this way, you're not playing the game right.
You're wrong.
I had something that kind of came across to me the other day. As those of you who follow the channel regularly know, we play a game called Saga now. And it's a miniatures war game. So 28mm miniatures, you recreate battles with Saxons versus Vikings, whatever else. And it's a lot of fun. But one of the things that I was seeing when I was watching videos trying to learn how to play the game was, boy, if you didn't have your figures all painted up just right, if you didn't have things, if you didn't have your guys over here, well, that's not a Viking, that's a Saxon, and you can't use that guy on horseback because he's the wrong age. There was a real sense of that in these videos. And so I spent a lot of time getting my armies, set up, painted, just right, make sure that they're ready to go. I had a great night playing at our local game store the other day. I know the man who owns the local game store. He said, oh, you're interested in Saga? Let's have a Saga night. I got down there and I was ready. I was all proud, had all my guys painted. And
his case with them.
Everything built of foam. I was ready. Got down there and these guys were so cool because they were very much, I haven't finished painting those. I'm using these Saxons to represent these Vikings because I don't have enough Vikings. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
So, again, I think a lot of what we're trying to say is that there's a perception of how you're supposed to play the game out there based on what you see on social media or on YouTube.
Yeah.
You need to investigate it further and realize that you don't have to play by other people's rules.
Not at all.
You need to play by your own rules and what lets you enjoy things.
And I think a great place to start with a lot of this, if you aren't familiar with these concepts, or if you don't already have people that friends that you have that play these games, which a lot of people don't, and they just want to give it a go. Right. Go to a game store.
Yep.
Or go to your local gaming convention.
I think even better.
Yeah, because most of the people who come to these conventions wherever they are there because they want to play this game or that game or whatever with just people. They want to get out there and they want to do it. And they want to share what they care about and what they love with people who want to experience it with them. They're very friendly. Extremely. They're willing to help you start figuring this stuff out. Mm-hmm. And they're just fun. So if you live in a place that probably is large enough to have some of these conventions, or you have a place nearby that has these conventions, go check one out. They're usually not that expensive, and it's a great way to kind of dip your toes into some of this subject matter to see if it's something you'd like to pursue more.
And I can almost promise you, if you go to a convention and you go to one of the D&D tables, if you get there a couple minutes early and there are no spaces left, so you can't actually sit down and play, but if you get there a couple minutes early and you go to the person running the game and you say, I'm kind of trying to learn how this works. Would you mind if I just sat and watched for 20 minutes? They'd be, you bet, like, sit down. They would be so happy to have you do that. I have never had somebody go, no, I will not have this. This is a distraction to me. So, again, if you're wanting to learn how to play these things, don't think you need to go out and buy 500 books and memorize everything before you jump in. Nope. You just need to go and, like Alexander was saying, stick your toe in the water and see if you like it or not. Yeah. But get to know some people.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that it's something that anybody can go and do, and it's something that people will be very accepting of whatever experience level you have. And with that, if you are one of those people, one of those very few people who are mean to those who do not understand the rules, I'm watching you. All right? Be nice to people. Be kind.
Yeah, I have never seen it happen.
No, I've never seen it.
I've never seen that happen.
No.
But yeah, so I guess the purpose of this video, when we started off saying we were going to tell you how to play D&D.
We're all over this.
We're not telling you how to play D&D. We're telling you, at the end of the day, you don't need what people tell you you need to have.
No.
And if you want to make up your own role-playing game, make up your own role-playing game. Because,
good on you.
Be honest with you, that may end up being the game that you have the most fun playing because you're making it up for yourself and you're using the concepts and rules that you think should be in the game. And to heck with anybody else.
Yeah.
Bored?
Sorry. Yeah. Just play the game. Figure it out. Figure out what works for you. Have fun and make memories with your buddies. That's the most important thing about this. Have a good time. It's not the treasure under the X marks the spot. It's getting the friendships that we made along the way.
It's the friendships you make on getting to the X.
Exactly.
That's what's all important.
Exactly. And that's true for life,
So enough of us being philosophical. If you have questions about good ways to start with D&D, he gets carried away sometimes. He does it just to annoy me.
I know what you mean.
If you have any questions about getting started in role-playing games, let me know.
Let us know.
Send us an email.
We're here to help.
Yeah. We're more than happy to do that. We're actually pretty approachable. Yep. Me more than him, but
That's not even a little bit true.
Not at all, actually. But anyway, that's all we had to say. If you want to play a game, go figure one out for yourself, and you'll probably be just as happy, if not more than you would if you spent $500 to buy all the rule sets and books and accoutrements for most modern tabletop role-playing games.
But you know what, man? At the same time, if you want to buy $500 worth of stuff and use it,
do it.
Do it.
Do it. If that does make you happy, go and do that.
By all means.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just do what you want to do. Have fun.
There you go.
It's a game.
I'm Jim.
I'm Alex.
Keep your sword on free.
Bye.